I wrote this poem in August of last year. A couple of things inspired this, and when I think about, what I was hoping to convey in writing the poem. First of all, I was approaching my 60th birthday and reflecting on the idea of age and being old, and how in our society that word, it's almost like a bad word. You're not supposed to say you're old. And I love the fact that I'm at this stage in my life. And I wanted to think about all the things I've learned and all the things I'm trying to kind of cull from my life, like simplify. And then the other thing that happened when I wrote this poem was the poem's dedicated to my friend Mary, who I've known for 40 years. We met in college. I was about to turn 20 and she was about to turn 18. And we were at the beach together and celebrating 40 years of friendship. And I was thinking about the power of that kind of relationship between two women. And there's something magical about it because we know each other in ways that I don't even think, our partners know us. Because women, just kind of typically share everything with each other. And I had written the first half of the poem, the first stanza, and I knew it wasn't finished. And I just said it and let it breathe. And I was waiting for what was next. And while we were at the beach, a hurricane came through Florida. We were in North Carolina, and it was coming up the coast, and we knew we would be okay, but there was a storm, lots of rain, the house was shaking, and there was a full moon, and it was the blue moon. And we woke up the next morning, and both of us had dreams. That part is true. We sat and had coffee and we talked about our dreams of these two men. And of course, being friends for 40 years, we knew all the history behind it. But it felt like some kind of magic had happened. That kind of magic that, as I think of a Crone, right? The power and the magic, frankly, of old women and old women together. Crone, raising the dead, for Mary. 1. When I no longer waited for the promised resurrection, the lighted tunnel, or the brutal ways of brutal men. When I no longer listened to the grinding proclamations of conveyor belts, or looked for murderers or dragonflies in my rearview mirror. When I no longer spoke in corporate rhymes of right-sizing, human capital, the ballooning of things never meant to float. When I no longer flattened my body beneath engines or dripping machines. I learned that oil looks like blood in black and white memories. It tastes like wine when you've thirsted for days. I learned a hollow box is the only shape that can explain death's vibratory light. I learned that circles do not bounce, or end, or end, or begin. I learned that rewinding is a cruel and simple lie. 2. Last night you dreamed of your first lover, and I dreamed of my last, while the blue moon dripped like rosemary oil into the midnight ocean. B told you that he had been alive all along. His obituary, a cruel love note to inspire a song in your neglectful throat, your thoughtless refusal to rewind. D was as thin as a matchstick, desperate to become flame. The blue moon crawled beneath our doors. The blue moon flowered inside our sleeping mouths, and I asked, why did you marry someone with my name? He said he wanted one thing, to stay the same. When you asked me, where have you been all this time? I knew that he was coiled in the tangle of blackberry vines, the first and last blush of lovers, the tiny hidden pocket inside your winter coat. We woke to the blue house shaking.